Hey, Brian here, setthepacetriathlon.com. We're doing another Facebook Live. This time we're talking about Ironman 70.3 Memphis. Special place in my heart because I am going to be out there racing with you guys. So I am probably maybe a little bit more invested than maybe a race that maybe I'm just prepping for athletes or doing training plans for or something like that. So I do have a vested interest in this race for 2021. Supposed to do in 2020 like everybody else, just about. It got pushed to 2021. So here we are. So this time I want to talk about we've done the swim, the bike, the run, we've done different things, the weather, I want to talk about the event schedule. We talked about the athlete guide in general, but I just want to go through the event schedule because it's got all the important details of where you need to be and when and locations to get this to make sure that you've got everything covered that you need to be covering for race day. So if you go to the main page, you search up 70.3 Memphis, you can get to the main page here on Ironman's website. Click down to athletes, and then the event schedule is the first one. Click on that. It's a nice PDF. You can save it to your computer. You can print it off. It is in the athlete guide, so if you wanted to have it and you've already printed off the athlete guide, you should have it. But do notice there is a date. It puts on there the last time it's been updated. So just make sure that you're paying attention at the top here. Let me adjust that really quick so you guys can see that too. So here it is highlighted. So last updated September 21st, 21. So just make sure that you are checking in to see if this gets updated at all. Make sure you're following them on the Facebook page for 70.3 Memphis, the official Facebook page. Any changes are put up in there. So things like, if pandemic times are requiring face mask and other things that's been changed or modified recently, they'll put that in there. So make sure you pay attention to that kind of information. So schedule wise, Thursday they do have athlete check in. Notice there is no check in on Saturday on race day, so you pretty much have to check in Thursday or Friday before they close, or you're not racing. So Thursday, and I do kind of like to try to check in as early as possible because if you do and get the Ironman Village, that is generally when you're going to get access to the ample supply of gear because since there's no race in 2020 and 2021, there's been a lot of racing and everybody's picking up the stuff. So there's been definitely a void for racing and the need for stocking up on your gear. So if you want t-shirts, you want your hats or anything like that, you better get it when you get there. You better not just look at it and think, well, I'll come back Friday. It's probably the good stuff's going to be gone probably by Friday. So you can kind of bet on that. So noon to 7 p.m. at Shelby Farms Park is where the athlete check-in is and Ironman Village. They're going to have the Ironman store. And then they've got two briefings at 3 and 5 p.m. on Thursday. Now, most of the races have been doing virtual briefings and they've been posting up on Vimeo or something like that, and then posting it to their Facebook pages. But if you want to go listen to an athlete briefing, especially this is the first time they've done this race, and if this is your first 7.3 or something like that, I definitely go and try to catch one of the athlete briefings and time your arrival, check-ins maybe to around that briefing and just kind of listen in to see if there's anything. I highly recommend maybe trying to catch one of the later briefings on Friday because by that time people have asked so many questions, they know kind of what information people are looking for. So that would be kind of a word of advice. But also, you could go to an early briefing, and then later when they post one online, you can go and watch that and see if there's any information that didn't come out in the briefing when you're there in person. So on Friday, October 1st, they are doing a practice swim. Athletes must pick up timing chip and athlete check-in on Thursday and bring to participate in the practice swim. So your timing chip, they want to track you going in and out and make sure that nobody gets lost and they lose you in the lake. So that's going to be important. Make sure you got your timing chip and athlete check-in. So from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., you do a practice swim out at Shelby Farms Park, the lake there. Um, Personally, I probably won't do a practice swim or anything like that. I doubt the size of the body, the water that is, it's not going to be, there's not going to be waves. There's not going to be really a problem. So personally, for me, I probably won't do a practice swim, but it is there if you guys want to do it. So just make sure you get your timing chip before you try to jump into the lake and do a practice swim. I think right now the last temperature I saw is 74 degrees. So technically it's wetsuit legal, but the temperature the next few days is kind of getting in the mid 80s. Possibly a little bit of rain on race day, possibly rain in between. So bring your wetsuit. I'm bringing a wetsuit. I'm bringing a full sleeve wetsuit. And I'm bringing my speed suit. So just in case, if it's not wetsuit legal, I'll use a speed suit. But I'm crossing my fingers. I'll use all the help I can get in the water. So anyway, if you're gonna bring a wetsuit, I definitely bring it for the practice swim. Just bring in there and try to get used to it and that type of thing. But then plan on washing it off so it doesn't stink it up later, and make sure you can try to get it dry before race day. Just a wetsuit is kind of a little bit more difficult to put on, but it can be done. So Friday they've got the practice swim, they've got the Ironman store opening up, Ironman Village. So notice the practice swim is at 8 a.m. Ironman Village check-in opens up at 10 a.m. So if you're trying to practice swim on Friday, you need to be checked in on Thursday, or else you're not going to have your timing chip, and they're not going to let you practice swim. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you want to do a practice swim on Friday. You got to be checked in and have your timing chip on Thursday. So make sure you're on top of that. And make sure when you do check in, you got your QR code that they sent via your email. I just got mine. Even though I picked the time like a few weeks ago, I got my QR code this time. You don't try to hit the time that you signed up for, but in the end, if you're a little bit before or after, they're not going to ding you and say you can't check in, but they're just trying to keep everybody spread out in the kind of the spirit of social distancing and everything that with the pandemic and stuff. So keep that in mind. The Ironman Village store is the same time. Well, it's actually open an hour earlier than Ironman Village and check-in. No athlete check-in on Saturday again. Mandatory bike check-in and optional gear bag check-in. So from 10 a.m. to 5, you have to drop off your bike, and you can drop off your gear bag if you want to. Personally, I just bring everything with me in a bag, in my transition bag, and set it up next to my bike, so it's no big deal. But just make sure that if you want to hit one of the athlete briefings, 11, 1, 3, and 5. So, or 5 o'clock, they have the Iron Kids race. But 11, 1, and 3, they have athlete briefings in person. They're at the stage at the Ironman Village. So, plenty of opportunities to do athlete briefings. Like I said, most races have been putting them on the Facebook pages as well if you want to watch them there as well. So, race day, 5 a.m. to 6:45, transition open. So, you got an hour and 45 minutes to get set up. You got to park, and you got to walk. So if you went through, and I kind of breezed through it on the athlete guide, they give you the parking information. So definitely when you go to check in, note where you're parking and where you're going to park and how long it's going to take to get there. Because if you get there right at 5 a.m. and you plan on, having plenty of time, you may be kind of rushed if you get parked at 5 o'clock and then try to get to transition. So transition opens at 5. So I get there a little bit before 5. Notice they do have professionals. So pro men start at 7, pro females 7:05, age group at 7:15. It's a rolling swim start, so make sure you're seating yourself appropriately because it's all going to be based on your honor system. And I posted plenty of videos, so please seat yourself accordingly. If you're not a fast swimmer, please don't put yourself to the front because you get swam over. It will not be a fun experience for you. With that, after or during the event, your spectators can be there. And like I said, the Shelby Farms Park, looking at it, it's kind of like that's probably going to be the best place for people or spectators to hang out. The Ironman store is open, so if they want to load up on gear when you're out there racing, Ironman Village is open 7 to 4, 10:30 to 5, post-race athlete food. You can start getting your gear out at 1:30 to 5:30, and then 4:30 if you qualify for 2022 7.3 World Championships. It's in St. George, Utah again in 2022. You have to be there in person to claim the spot, and you have to be there in person to get the roll down. So if you're 30th in your age group, and you're just dying to get a spot, there might be a chance. I know a few races like 70.3 Washington, I believe some of the women's age groups roll down to 20th, 25th spot before someone claimed, and they've only got 1 to 2 spots per age group because of now they've done 2021, they've gone 2022, so now they've gone back to regular distribution of race entries. So there's only 1 to 2 per age group, but they are still rolling a little bit deep because people that probably have wanted to do the World Championships have done it, and especially it's in the States. So the second year in a row that's in the States, probably a little less, need and want for people to do that. So there may be opportunity. So if you're around at 4:30, you could be there at the award ceremony and then see if you get into the 70.3 Worlds. So that's basically kind of the gist of the event schedule. I mean, it's got pretty much everything in Shelby Farms Park. There's a little Ironman Village in there. There's going to be a stage where everything's at. So it's pretty much centrally located. Make sure you hit the athlete guide to find out where to park, because I believe check-in parking is a little bit different than race day parking. So make sure you're parking in the right spot. Make sure you do take note of how long it takes you to walk from one area to the other. It's looking to be about like a mile walk. So, plan on 15, 20 minutes walking to get to transition, get set up on race day morning. Don't show up sooner. Don't show up as late as possible. Show up as early as possible. Get your spot all set up. You're racked by number. You get your number assigned when you do check in. So don't get all bent out of shape. Your number is your number, and you're racked where you're racked. So at the end of the day, that's kind of out of your control. So you don't need to be there as quickly to get the best rack spots, but you do want to be there to get set up to relieve some of the anxiety of race day morning. So the last thing you want to be doing is be in a hurry and forget something at the swim start, and you forgot your goggles, you forgot earplugs or something, or nutrition or hydrating or whatever. You want to be there. It's looking to be a little bit warm in the high to low 80s. So make sure you're hydrating, make sure you're getting your nutrition in, especially race morning and especially on the bike. It's going to play a big role in the run. The run's all in the park there. So it looks to be pretty shaded in spots and not too challenging or anything, but you do want to make sure, if it gets in the 80s, it's going to be warm, and we're kind of in the southern territory. It's going to be a little humid. So just make sure you don't take it for granted, even if it's raining. Hydration, nutrition, and like I said, you don't want to be in a hurry on race morning and all that stuff goes out the window, and then you start on the bike and you're dehydrated and you're undernourished. You don't want to do that. So again, event schedule, go to the website, burn off, know where you're supposed to be. Google all the locations, mark it on your Google Maps, make sure you know where you're going. So hopefully that helps you out. If it did, give it a like. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you didn't like it, put a comment on there. So tell me what I can do better. If you're on YouTube, give it a like there. Give me a subscribe. Hit the notification button. If you want to see me do other races, I'm doing more as they come up. So I'll do other races, especially if I got athletes doing them, if I'm making training plans for them. So I'm just going through and kind of talking about the events. So if you got an event you want me to talk about, put them in there, put them in the comments, and we'll see if there's enough interest for other events that I'm doing or my athletes are doing and you want to see done. So with that, hopefully this helps you out, and we'll see you guys out there on race day. Good luck.